I would bang the shit out of that dude.
Dude, if you were a dude, you'd bang the shit out of you.
Yeah, true.
If I were a dude, I'd dress up like a chick and let that dude bang the shit out of me.
Oh! Wow.
That took it.
A realistic turn.
Took an air out of the room.
A realistic turn. That's why it's funny.
That's what.
Hey, blasphemers. Welcome to Simple Blasphemy, where we have the best times with the worst topics.
We're three friends that discuss everything and nothing, from wacky headlines to games and trivia. All subjects bizarre and risque are on the table.
Our weekly guests range from friends, musicians, and artists to professionals in a variety of industries.
We go live on Facebook and YouTube every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Want to support the show? Join our Patreon. You can find it and more at www.simpleblasphemy.com.
So grab a drink and join it!
It's too late now. This is Simple Blasphemy.
Yeah.
Hookers
and blow.
Yay!
You got your yayo and your yiggity yak.
You know, if they made that an Olympic sport, I would look like Michael Phelps up in this bitch. I would have fucking 38 gold medals, and my dick would be bronze.
Your dick would have its own gold medals. There's the gas mask.
So here we go. Welcome to the Simple Blasphemy Podcast, all you blasphemers out there. My name is Zach Ward, and I have here with me always Andy's.
Hi, how is everybody doing today, tonight, and tomorrow?
You sound like a leprechaun. And Mr. Zach Green.
Pick up the hands off me balls.
Hey, do you know when I can buy some Lysol again?
Having doo-doo problems. Okay.
Why is it so hard to get, man?
I don't know.
I just order them off Amazon.
That's true.
For like $68 a can.
All the info on the show, including episodes and guests, can be found at simpleblasphemy.com. And if you're new here, please consider subscribing. And because of Kane, our special guest here tonight, we've actually had at least 10 to 20 new subscribers. So thank you, Kane, for his family and coming hang out with us. Kane's kind of pretty much maybe a once a month. Look
I'm
at
a
that.
fucking staple.
Oh my God.
I'm a
Look at that.
staple in the middle of the magazine.
Look at
That's
that.
right.
That
Look how
hooter that
perfect
you have
that
there.
is.
But I'm showing you guys this fucking duber because not only do I roll perfect ones, I mean, there's not even a twist in that. It looks like it came out of a machine. It
Did you order it? Did you iron
came
that?
out of me.
A doobie rolling machine.
Yeah, that's fucking. I've been rocking these for a long time.
Before we went live, I was going to try to convince you to take the joint over your camera like the beginning of Star Wars.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that's fucking A. I should have done that.
So let's respond really quickly. Aaron just messaged us and said, "Are we starting where we left off?" Yes, Aaron, we are, in fact, starting where we left off. We had a little bit of technical difficulty, which is fine, but we are going to continue where we left off. But before we do that, we have a couple questions.
I should have watched that shit.
Maybe so. I'm pretty confident I know where we left off. But before we get into that, really quickly, Zach and Andy, I think I can speak for both of them. We really appreciate your time, and you're one of the guests that we actually get messages on and saying they love how real and honest you are, which you're probably sick of hearing.
Man. That's great. That's good feedback. I hope so, man. I hope I come through just like I come through to you. You know what I mean?
And you look clean.
Goddamn right. Goddamn right.
Got a couple
clean.
Okay. A couple questions really quickly as you're smoking that hooter. Well, wait. Question number one. What is your favorite word for smoking a joint? Everybody's got some kind of like nickname or whatnot, but what's your favorite?
It's the jump.
Okay.
It's the jump. Roll a jump. Grab that jump. But see, then you can take that word and you can intertwine it with every other thing. You could say, hand me that junk. Hand me the junk. I picked that shit up in D.C. That's what they say. That's their word in D.C. That fucking stuff. And everything after that was the junk.
Somebody said blow doja one time, and I always thought
I
that
love
was
that.
I love that.
all the names for weed,
Yeah,
though.
that was
All
always
that
one of my
shit.
favorites.
So I think my dad, believe it or not, my stepdad, I don't know if I really mentioned this, but he was a pretty big drug dealer back in the day. Maybe I shouldn't say this. Doing coke, selling coke and weed and shit. Anyway,
I like that guy. It's a good guy.
I think his favorite was Hooter. That was like his favorite word.
Yeah, I like Hooter though. Hooter's good though.
I
Hooter's good though.
don't know where that came from.
Who
Did
don't
you
like
ever,
Hooters?
exactly.
Yeah.
In fact, if you want to send us a picture of your Hooters, just go to our Facebook Simple Bless Me page, and who knows, we might even put it on the screen.
And that's not just for ladies only. Come on, guys, send us those tatas.
Yeah. We're in the 40s and over group. Some of you dudes got rocking some nice Hooters. Come on.
Yeah, man.
Got the really
moves.
They even got the
under boob.
Got some sandy patties happening. All right, Kane. First question: what is the most memorable gift you have ever received?
Herpes, by far.
Herpes?
Yeah, by far.
Oh, I thought you meant Herbie, like that Volkswagen.
I got 2 Herbie the Love
Dude,
Bugs
if
out
somebody
back.
would have gave me Herbie, that would have been fucking great. But no.
Number 43, I think it is.
Seriously, the best gift I ever had. I could piss so many people off by not saying stuff. So I'm gonna say my children.
All right. All right.
That's hands down too, by far. That might sound cliche and corny, but that's 100% real though.
No, trust me. One of the things that maybe not everybody does, but most people probably do understand with Kane is he is a very dedicated father, maybe more than we are, for that matter. But he loves his kids, no doubt.
That's true. Thank you.
Oh, it is.
I'd rather be known for that than any fucking thing, to be honest with you. If I could be a half decent dad, that would be the greatest thing ever.
Exactly.
If I could retire that, I'm good.
So, question number 2 is: what is the weirdest thing you've ever seen in somebody's house? Now, I know you are.
Whoa!
I know. Come on, man. You know that's a good question.
That's a great question, but I can never say who these people are.
That's fine.
I can only say what I saw.
Set it up.
Oh man, bro.
Set it up, man. Come on.
Okay. This was a recent one, and we won't even go back to the band days. We won't go back to the drug days or nothing like that.
Sure.
We'll keep this in the professional, real world.
Okay.
About 3-4 months ago, I was on a move, and the lady we do a tour of her house first, and then we come to like this.
Kane.
Bedroom.
One second. Explain to people what that is first. Only because if someone we're doing a move, they might not know what that means.
Yeah, well, I didn't rob anybody. I actually worked for a moving company and shit. Yeah, I didn't come in and take nobody's shit.
You were the muscle.
That's the old days. That's the old days. No, we came in to do a whole house move, and this was out of town. We were in another state, so I don't want to say anything crazy. But we were in a whole other state packing up, and it was like a full pack job. So you got to take in all the boxes, all the everything, and people. These are very wealthy people. I mean, very wealthy, and they just literally leave. They leave the shit out, and they're like, "Okay, we'll see you when they're there, and you're responsible for all their stuff." So they had attic room, and she didn't come up and show us. She said, okay, there's a room up there, and I'm gonna need that stuff packed too. And then usually they go to each room. So I was like, oh, that was kind of odd, but we just go whatever. And then we come in, we bring all the stuff. She goes, look, I'm not gonna hang out here. I'm out of here. I'll see you guys at the other place. So she leaves. And when it got to me, I'm like, man, that's kind of weird that she didn't go up that freaking room, and then she just dipped. So man, I go up there with some boxes of tape, and I say, hey man, I'm gonna pack that upstairs attic, because I'm trying to be lazy anyway. So I go up there real quick, and bro, it was a legit ass S&M room. I had never really seen one, but it was totally the shit on the walls. I mean, it was all black leather shit. She had 2
sex dungeon.
It was.
You had to unbolt shit from the walls.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool.
They're called hard points.
Yeah, it was
Now, did you admire that? Did you like? Damn.
yeah. I really, you know what? I thought it was ballsy too. If you have like, if you're that ballsy to call overs and then be like, pack up my sex shit. Like you, number one, you're extremely lazy. Number two, you were just like, fuck it. Like I don't give a shit. Like that's the part that gets you. It's like she was like, I don't give a shit. Just hey, go up there. You're about to notice some shit. So then the next time, this one made me mad though. I didn't get to deliver the job, so I never seen her face again. I would have loved to just see her face when I pulled up and I was like, where do you want the attic? So I wanted to be so bad.
Name something that was in there that was shocking? I mean, was it just a swing hanging from the ceiling, or was it?
No, that was all down. The shocking part was the trunks. She had these two big trunks.
Okay.
They were just like ajar. They weren't even shut. And we had to pack it. You don't know if you're supposed to take that down or take the contents out and pack it. So you kind of have to look. And man, there was every size imaginable. From wee little bit to, you know what I mean?
It's the training kit.
Dude, no, this is big ass training. This is a full-fledged fucking ninja.
But
She was a Shogun master.
How old was she? About how old was she?
Old enough to know better.
Middle age.
See, Green, that could be
just
you.
for moving from, I just want to move. Let's move on, just in case, I don't want to talk about nothing that's too professional, but it was crazy. It was
Professional.
All right, last question here. Has anything ever happened to you that you could not and cannot explain?
Dude, no way, because if I told this, it would ruin everything, bro. There's no way. Look, anybody that's ever had something like that, when they go to start telling a story, let's say it's a UFO, let's say it's something they can't explain, you always look at the person like, shut the fuck up, dude. But I got one of those, and it's undescribable, and it's so weird. And my close friends know, because I brought it up from time to time, like, motherfucker, remember when I told you I seen that? Because we'll see something or we'll hear something on TV and it'll be like that. And they're like, dude, I told you that's what I saw. So I don't know. When I first moved to Toledo 3 years ago, man, I seen something I couldn't explain. And these other couples seen it with me. And it was like a blue sphere light that came down between these apartment buildings, man. I'm shit you not. And we stood there like, hey, man, did you just see that?
Was that the police lights?
Like, yeah, I seen it. And then that fucking sphere, which was about the size of a car, came up to the top of the building, stood there, like sat, and then shot the fuck off after like 10 seconds of sitting there. I was literally staring at it going, and we couldn't talk. And dude, this is what's the craziest. What did you do after that? Hey, dude, we stood there in the parking lot looking at each other like some fucking moops, like what the fuck? And the guy literally looks at me and goes, who's going to believe that? And I was like, fucking nobody, dude. And it's been 23, 24 years ago. And I think about that thing all the time. All the time it comes up in my brain. That's why I was so ready for when you asked that question. That's the single most defining weirdness I've ever witnessed in my life.
So before here's the format, folks. We're gonna jump back into Kane Loc's story.
I have done a lot of mushrooms and I've done a lot of shit, but I was totally sober for the record at this moment. I did not stay that way, and I talked about it for 3 days, and no one fucking believed me. But it still hasn't changed all these years later exactly what the fuck I saw.
So before we jump into Kane, Andy, do you have anything that you've ever seen that you could not explain?
Yes. Yeah. I don't know if I've told this story before, though.
Are you talking about the horse one or whatever? The unicorn or some shit? Your neighbor's horse barn?
No. Okay. No. That I was really, really, really super young when that happened. This was when I was like of driving age. I had picked up a couple of my friends over at our practice space, and we were driving everybody home, and I was driving my friend Adam home, and as I was coming back from his house, it was 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. As I was leaving his house, I picked up on something coming at me down the road. And as I got closer, I realized it was a dude in a fucking banana costume walking down the side of the road at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, but like marching, like with his full arms up in the air, like next to his head the entire time. And I looked at my other dude. You know, Jason, the punk rock Jason. He was a Toledo staple for a while. He was the one who was in the car next to me. And he goes, "What the fuck was that?" We just kind of looked at each other like, "There's no way."
All right, Zach.
That's
Zach Green.
That's way better than mine and more believable.
It's not. I want to see. I'd rather see yours.
That's what she said. That's what she said. Green, have you ever is something like that happened to you where you saw something you couldn't explain it? Well, sober?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I know. I didn't get that part of the question.
No, once I was in the backyard and I wasn't drunk or anything. Nothing.
Okay.
I was just sitting there taking a nap.
Naturally.
Yeah. Well, I do that. Sometimes I fall asleep. I fell asleep under my car a few times when I was working on it. No, I look up.
Dangerous as fuck, but
I know. Yeah. No, I don't. I had it on a rotisserie, so it was fine. It wasn't going anywhere.
Boston Market.
Yeah. No, so
Boston Mercury.
I look up, and it looked like it. God, how do I explain? It looked like jellyfish, but they were clear, and they're about the size of a car, and there was a school, like a school of them swimming, and it looked like they were swimming through water, but it was in the air. And I remember just sitting there thinking, like, I gotta go get my camera or something. I'm like, well, the moment you do, they're gonna be gone. And I just watch them go from what is it, the northwest to the southeast. Yeah. I just
said it won't matter.
Yeah, it
bullshit. Ectoplasm only travels north to south.
Shit. No, right. But it doesn't fucking matter.
So
just delete everything I fucking said.
No. I'm just saying directional wise, but no, that's good.
Great.
So there's
I love you guys, man. You guys crack me the fuck up. Man.
There's one thing that Kane Loc and I actually have a lot in common, and one story that I remember. Both of us, Kane and I, hate birds.
God damn right.
Hate fucking birds. So
God damn right. Fucking mad.
And people just don't understand the frustration of people that just don't. And Andy knows this about me. I do. Fucking hate birds.
I do.
Dude, they are the most.
They hate you too.
Pieces of fucking shit that Earth has ever produced, bro.
And
that the Earth has ever produced.
Kane, on top of that, birds. There is such thing as bird AIDS. Birds have AIDS. Look it up. I don't need
to look it up. Of fucking course they fucking do. I've been saying that forever, bro.
I'm not even lying to you. It's a real thing.
Saying birds carry the bird flu, obviously. The guy started the fucking swine flu.
So long story short, my funny story that I actually can explain. It's not too out there. In high school, I was with my girlfriend and we smoked a lot of weed, and we were driving in Perrysburg, and when we were driving, we literally, 2 birds hit the windshield and fucking flew off. We stopped the car because it was in an urban, it's out in the outskirts. We stopped the car and looked at the road. There was 2 dead birds. They literally fucking killed themselves in our windshield, and I was so stoned and petrified.
They didn't try to kill themselves. They literally didn't see the glass and tried to kill you 2 motherfuckers.
That's what I'm talking about.
They didn't see the glass. They fucking were going to come straight for your face.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what I'm talking about. So before we get into that, Kane, can you describe to me, how would you feel if you ran into this situation?
Holy fuck, bro.
Look at his hair.
Dude.
So, folks,
I would literally say, excuse me, sir, I didn't know you were in here. And I would literally run the fuck out, dude.
So, for the audio listener, that was a very large, I don't know, pelican-esque bird in a bathroom.
No, dude. It was a small velociraptor standing in a fucking bathroom with a fucking mouth that had a gullet underneath it that could hold like 10 babies. That fucking thing was...
That's a 10-baby gullet right there.
Humans.
Yes, human children.
So really quickly, now maybe the difference we have And if you follow Kane, he actually has a video of some dude like letting off some pigeons or birds in the air. Where
Fuck
he's
that guy. Fuck that guy.
I wish
all the people in the world, you're gonna come at me in my work truck and say, "Hey man, can I get it some help?" Me being the fucking class act I am. Sure, bro. What can I do for you? Hey man, help me let these pigeons go. As they bird.
so
Yeah, I got a couple hundred. I said, man, you gotta be fucking with me right now.
So I'll be honest with you, like if the bird is big enough that I can kick it or grab it, I don't have a problem with it. Like the bird in the picture, if I can
You're a cocky
see,
man. You're cocky because birds fly. So I don't know how high you can kick.
not
So
that fast.
maybe I don't understand maybe your leg mechanics, but birds are way deadlier than you believe.
I'm not going to disagree with you.
There's
It's
no
just
dispute
that
there.
if I can if I have an idea that I can jack it like the kangaroo guy in Australia when he, the kangaroo got his dog video.
See, you have a hate of birds.
Yeah.
I more have a fear of birds because I'm not hitting no birds, bro. I'm ducking under everything, and I am turning into a fucking table. And I don't want to buy my face, bro. I don't want to buy my face.
All right, that's fine.
If we're around together, listen, if we get jumped in the alley, I got us. Chill out. Watch this. It's going to be sweet. If we get attacked by birds, it's on you, bro. It's on you.
Yeah. So we are going to start a GoFundMe, and we're going to try to raise some money, and we're going to videotape Kane Loc and me going to the aviary at Toledo Zoo.
Yeah, right.
And trust me, it'll be entertaining, and
that's one stunt that we ain't gonna do.
I will kill some motherfucker. Trust
No,
me.
dude, I will kill the people that open the door for me. No, sir. I meant it when I said it.
So before we move on to all things Kane,
All things considered,
we want to get that's good, Andy.
I like that.
We want to give a shout out to our top 5 countries listening in on the audio version, only because we don't have statistics for the other stuff. India, once again.
Wow!
India, 73.65% has grown. In fact, if you look at the cities that
Thank you.
tune into this podcast, it is unbelievable.
What's up, fucking India? Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, so thank you guys.
What's up? Fuck yeah.
So much. We appreciate it, and send us some pictures or some comments or something.
Yeah.
So we got India, number 2.
Some tan nipples.
The United States, number 3, Germany, number 4, Canada, and number 5, Italy. So thank all you guys
mucha bella.
for tuning in.
Grazie.
And
grazie.
Really quickly,
bro. What's your suta?
We like our hairy nipples too.
jalapa.
Dark and hairy nipples.
So we have our weekly shout out from Tanner from the Tanner Words podcast. Here we go.
What's up, guys? Tanner Wirtz here. Want to give a big shout out to Karen's, because if you're trying to speak to the manager, you're gonna have to suck this dick.
That was it.
That was my favorite one.
That's the best one.
Hey,
Oh my God.
that motherfucker, bro. Holy fuck.
Somebody driving by was like,
man, I wasn't ready for him.
Tanner, great job.
That was a good one.
Yeah, wow, that was dope. That was Dick, he said.
And he's at a putt-putt course.
Oh, that's even better. The kids can hear him.
So
Some kid right now is going, Mommy, what can we suck this dick and do? She's like, shut up.
par 4.
So with you motherfuckers.
Why does the elephant have water come out of his tusk?
I see a bunch of crying faces.
That's the smallest pencil I've ever seen.
oh God.
Okay, so
Wow.
let's recap a few things from a couple weeks ago. So, Kane, you're in Cleveland. That was your home base. That's where you started your journey
That's where I
through
was
life.
born.
So
That's
you were, unfortunately, you had a not because of you, but you were staying sometimes in bus stations. You kind of learn the hustle.
Well, after that little bus station stint is when we got to move to a little city right outside of Cleveland called Geneva on the lake, and then there from Ashtabula. And Ashtabula, that's my city. That's where that city molded me, shaped me, made me who I was. You know, my brother was really, really a popular kid there because he was crazy as fuck. And I just got a lot of lifelong friends still from there that I've had for 30, 40 years. Most of my life, most of my friends' base is still everybody that I knew from Ashtabula and the east side of Cleveland. Like that whole area right there was just, those were our home. That was home.
We left off with you saying that you had the you got in trouble for food stamps because they thought there was guns.
That I did.
And that's kind of where we left the conversation. So where would you like to?
Right, because this was supposed to be about how you got to prison. That was the vehicle that sent me to the joint. And I say the joint because they're not really around anymore. You know, back when I was in jail, there were penitentiaries, there were prisons. You know, they were fucking no joke. You were out in the open. The old school took care of itself. I mean, you got in a fist fight. Oh well, it was, you know, they would yell, break it up if they wanted to, or they wanted to watch, they'd watch. You know, those were penitentiaries. You know, my number is R number. It's called an R reformatory number, 292-348. That is the actual number of convicts going through the penitentiary systems. That's what number I was. Now they're in the fucking, like, I can't even imagine what number they're at now, but I mean, like, I had a couple of friends come home recently and their numbers were like, you know, triple that, quadruple that in the last 20 years. So, anyway, that was my vehicle to that. Amongst other charges and drug charges I'd already had. I was already wanted for, you know, aggravated drug traffickings. I had 3 of them. And then, so anyway, when I get all sentenced and I get all caught and I was on the run for a while and blah, 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 all that happens. You finally get sentenced to jail. I got to do 5 years, but I got to do it 3 times. But they ran it concurrent, which means all at the same time, or I would have done 15 years. So, but at the end of that, I ended up getting extra time anyway. But to that effect, that's how I ended up in jail.
So let me ask you this question really quickly, only because I'm personally a person that wants to or advocates for decriminalizing drugs, period.
100%.
It's just stupid.
Listen, it's so crazy that I also have done time just for pot, though, and growing pot. But this is what's so crazy about that. Like, I've spent years of my life in institutions for something that not only is illegal now, but I had a license to grow and sell in Michigan because I live there. But I went to prison for that. But now I'm allowed to grow and sell it. Like, how does that even compute? And if it is overturned and it's legal, how the fuck aren't all these non-violent drug offenders released that are in there on marijuana charges?
Or compensated. So
my bad, I didn't mean to get off on that. But
no.
Rightly so.
Yeah, I want to unpack this for a second because I think it's a really relevant topic.
100%.
Personally. So, what is your, having gone through the punishment side of weed or coke or whatever, but we also know that the politicians and the elite obviously get away with a lot of stuff, right? I'm trying to be general, I'm not trying to be really specific on that. So what's your feelings on what you've learned through, you know, just the judicial system with non-violent drug charges?
That's what happens. But see, that's the gateway to the state and the system keeping you, because they know that drugs are so prevalent and everybody's going to do a drug or of some sort, whether it's, you know, pot, coke, weed, heroin. I mean, it doesn't matter what 80% of our society does something for a buzz, whether it's to drink, smoke, do something. So since you're gonna, what they can do is they want to just somehow give you that felony for that non-violent drug offense, because then not only do you have a felony, anything you do from there on out, even a traffic stop that they want to escalate to now a resisting arrest, they can now give you serious time after that. And then they own that person. Now, if they choose that they're from a good side or a good family, or even if they're not, but they might have a little bit of money, they're allowed to pay and get the fuck out of the system.
So
if you don't
wait
have
a second.
those meetings, you are forever at the mercy of the system. They can keep you as long as they want. They can keep giving you probation that they can fail you on a simple smoking a joint. Hey, give them 2-3 years for smoking a joint? How ridiculous that sound? You know how many motherfuckers have done years of their lives just for smoking a joint? So
let me ask you this. let's dovetail that and dovetail it into and bring in the hustle. I mean, hustling is a form of making money and being a really good salesperson is the general thing. I mean,
dude, if I sold cars back in the day, I'd have won fucking a regional manager of the year, year after year after year.
So
trust me, some of your best salesmen are on them corners, yo.
So yeah, so there's this thing called the hustle, which is a very, like human, like making ends meet kind of a thing, and it could be like you said, a car salesman to somebody hustling, repairing lawnmowers.
Haircuts. You could be hustling haircuts, and they can come in and take your shit just because you ain't got the right life, or whatever. Yeah,
weaves or whatever. Now Zach Green grew up on what? Is it 9 Mile? Where'd you grow up on?
7.5 in Kelly, and between Kelly and Gratiot, closer to Gratiot. 48205.
Sure.
So we talked about this when we got cut off a couple weeks ago. Green had a horrible experience witnessing somebody selling drugs in the wrong neighborhood. Would you mind recapping that once again, Green? Because Kane wasn't here for that.
No,
I can tell you what happened anyway.
No, it's just like, you're at an age where, usually you go out and get a job, but, just in that side of town, jobs aren't easily gotten. And I mean, I was lucky enough because I was in music. I got a job at the music store in the suburbs. But, I knew some of my friends that weren't able to get jobs. So when they're sitting around and going, what the fuck am I going to do? And then their approach is say, hey, if you go drop this off over there, I'll give you this. And then all of a sudden it enters 100%. Them in the drug world, and being so young, this is like around 14 years old, they get cocky and stuff. And they're thinking, I can just go fucking do my own shit and sell to whoever I fucking want to sell to. But you can't just do that, because if you're selling where you're not supposed to be selling, man, it's over. And unfortunately, there was at the end of our street, where just right in the little gutter of the alleyway, there was a 14-year-old kid that was fucking gunned down because he was just selling, drugs where he wasn't supposed to be selling. And that was just
traumatic,
Yeah.
Kane, can you speak to that?
I mean, is my mic still good?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because you guys dropped the volume. I don't know why, but I can still hear you. Yeah, I can speak to that. I don't want to get personally speaking to that. But yeah, I mean, you can get caught up. But see, look, I think that's a fine line though, because I do want to say this. I mean, everything I did was my choice though. I mean, you could say it was your environment, and that's true. You are a product of your environment, but you also get to pick what product that you are. You know what I'm saying? So I never blamed no situation that I've ever been into, whether I was homeless, whether I had money. Those were all, unless when I was a small child, of course, but those were all doings of my own life. You know what I mean? My own decisions. Everything I led, I did that. So just because there might not have been a lot of options, I still chose to sell drugs, because it was lucrative. It wasn't just a 9-to-5. Had there been a 9-to-5 job, some of us would still do that. We'd still sell drugs, because that's who we are. I didn't want a Honda Civic. I wanted a Lincoln. I wanted a Cadillac. I want to make sure my fucking shoes are tight. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm a vain bastard. And that leads you to crime if you have no access for vanity. So if you're honest with yourself, a lot of this shit comes from just greed. And most of us get what we deserve in the end. And that's 100%.
What's the biggest misconception of drugs that for people that don't do drugs just do not understand? I mean, I could speak for myself. Like, I love marijuana is fucking amazing. I mean, I'm a gummy guy. I don't. That's just my personal preference.
But see, wouldn't you say that we don't consider that a drug then, though?
It's not a drug.
I mean, that's the thing. If most people, whatever they do, they don't really consider it like either the worst or maybe even a drug. Like, I know me or none of my friends think weed's a drug. If anything, it's a medicine. It's been put here just like anything else. I mean, we don't alter its state. We dry it out and smoke it, or we eat it. So I mean, it's not like we're out here making chemicals with it. So
You would just give it nicer places,
I think
nicer
the word
places to
drugs
grow.
in itself is a system put word again for almost to back a bunch of laws behind, really.
So when you okay, kind of fast forwarding that you're in the penitentiary system, and you meet a lot of people, right? So, and I think you hit the wrong button.
Shit.
Where I was getting with this was, oh, here we go. Hold on.
There you go. There he is.
Ha!
So
Yeah, he's back. Okay. I
No,
fucked
we
up.
thought we lost you,
It's
man.
cool. I come with a disclaimer. I did smoke a lot of weed just now, and I am. So most of the shit I say, I mean 1,000%, and it is 100% my point of view. How I give it to you, I hope you can get it.
yeah. So really, like, trying to recap this, because we live in a society that there are some people that have never experienced drugs, but for the most part, a lot of people have. I mean, we've done shrooms. I've done shrooms. I've done coke. I've tried, obviously marijuana. I had a couple years on ecstasy that I had a lot of fun with that I absolutely do not regret.
Ditto. I had the same resume, but I've
You know what
never
I mean?
done the hard shit. I've never crossed the line. I always knew, as being a drug person, someone who sold drugs and did drugs from time to time, I always knew the ones that, you know why you don't do them? Because they're exactly what the fuck they advertise they are. They're going to be the best feeling you've ever had, or it's going to take away the worst feeling you've ever had. So I don't need that. So I've never done heroin, never done the meth, never smoked crack. I've never crossed the line. You know what I mean? And other people's lines might be further back. They might have never even tried blow. They've never even tried marijuana. They've never tried dropped acid. Well, that's a comfortable line for me. And that might not be to somebody else, just like you were saying. Like some people's introduction to drugs, they might think all of it's just the same as, like the same level as heroin, because the government's perpetuating that's all a Schedule I drug.
Yeah,
But it's
right.
fucking clearly not.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
Hopefully that's the shit they're doing now in Congress, that they'll start chopping it up and at least giving it to you for what it is. That way, I mean, there's so many medical advances going on right now with LSD, with psilocybin, with all this other stuff, that they're like, with Parkinson's and depression and, all that shit's real. So,
Ecstasy too, actually.
yeah, for sure. Pure MDMA, sure, dude. If you take some pure MDMA, let me tell you something. Real Molly, 100% real Molly, it is the best drug I've ever done in my life, hands down. I wouldn't recommend it to no minors. I'm not advocating it, but I'm just telling you, for me, pure MDMA drug is it's the pinnacle of something, because it really lets you know yourself. You get into a very introspective moment, and you just really
Love everybody.
It's a really fucking good time. That's what I'm gonna tell you. It's a fucking good time.
I had something called Green Love, which was MDMA, and I will tell you what, I learned a lot about myself during
you
that
do
time.
with the good stuff. You really do, man. If you don't walk away with that kind of inner thing, then maybe that drug isn't for you. Maybe you are just partying and the reason for doing the drug is passed you by. Maybe some of these drugs are there for you, to benefit you, to unlock you to use sometimes. Boom.
Love, baby. So let's, if you don't mind, let's dive into your first person experience as an adult. We're skipping the adolescent portion of it, but you're in the system now, and now you're going into the penitentiary. For people that have never, like myself, have never gone into something like this, and you've only seen it in movies, whether it be Shawshank Redemption or a number of other things. And I don't mean to be light of it. I'm just saying a lot of people just don't understand. What is your mindset when you're into? Are you already at the point where, like, I'm in the system, this is just where I'm going? And
well, from my perspective, thank God I did have the juvenile. I know it sounds weird to say thank God, but it's a really weird thing. I did so much time as a juvenile locked up that I was really prepared for that. And I thank God I was, because there was kids my age, because fuck, I was 19. You know what I'm saying? When I went to the adult joint. And There was a lot of kids my age doing time I was doing, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. Some kids had 8 in a quake. We called it. That was 8 to 25. They were giving these kids that shit for breaking in kids' houses, stealing Nintendos. These motherfuckers don't understand that's an aggravated robbery. You know what I mean? Or aggravated burglar. I'm sorry. And if you break into somebody's house and they might have the possibility to be home, shit, you're doing 8 years for that shit. And even though, you're crying in court, these kids walked through the fucking door. And the joint I went to was London Correctional, the first one. It's the oldest penitentiary in Ohio. It's built in 1920s. And dude, it looks like we call it Castle Grayskull. When you pull up to this motherfucker, if you ain't got your shit together, let me tell you something. Hey, you see motherfuckers break down. Hey, man, they don't want to get off the bus. I mean, you get off that motherfucker, you're shackled with somebody, and sometimes you're like, come on, man. Like, and they, man, you see it on them. And then you got some dumbasses like me, though, who just, hey, man, it's another chapter. Let's roll. The only thing I'm missing this bitch is some pussy. I don't mean to be frank or say some raw shit. And I don't mean to excuse my language for the people watching, but at that mindset, when you're that young and that's what you're about to lose, that is all you think about. Because, man, I go up in here. I don't mind fighting. I like it. I like when I get my name out there. I want to be. I don't want to be just one of these white. Because look, you got to understand, when you go to penitentiary, being a white guy, number one, I was a minority when the neighborhoods I was in. I was used to that too. Because when you go to the joint as a honky, you're a fucking minority off the rip. So if you ain't used to it, accustomed to that, and cats know you for you, and they can see it in your eyes, oh, he's a thorough one. The only beef I'm going to have is beef that I create. You know what I'm saying? These other cats are going to have beef off the rip because they are who they are. And they're out of place. And they shouldn't be there in the first fucking place. But they wanted to play gangster in the street. And, well, welcome. Don't. If you can't do gangster shit, don't do gangster shit. So that's as real as I can tell you, man.
Kane, let me ask you this.
You see it wash over them when that fucking bus pulls up because they think that county life that they just came from, where the sheriffs walk around and you might get a little tussle here and there and rah-rah bullshit. Okay. And then you pull up to a penitentiary. Them guards don't give a fuck what these dudes are saying. They're hanging out their windows like, come here, bitch. When you get in here, I'm taking your shit. And these motherfuckers is like, ah.
All right. So
yes, penitentiaries have changed though too from then. They're a lot more locked down now. Thank God I'm not in this era of criminal because I couldn't do it now. I did the time when, thank God, you could smoke cigarettes. That was your money in there, which was a lot. I smoked weed every day in the joint. So I mean, you could do that. We hustled all day, played dice. I mean, you could live a good life if you could sustain that. If you're one of those dudes. If you're not, man, it's almost like they put food in the pond for the sharks because they got to stop it with some shit. So these people that are they're just there for the food.
All right, let me ask you this: when you're in 19 and you're on your way to doing a little bit of time, what is your game plan? Like, what is like your mindset? Like, there's never no game plan. There's never no, when you're 19 and you live in the streets, homie, you're already an OG almost, because most of the people I knew that didn't make it to 19, or they were already doing their numbers at 19. So if you're 19 and I'm just getting out at 7, I got out at 18. I was only out about a year and a half on the street between this, but I did a lot of shit in that year and a half. You're living for that fucking day, every single day. And that don't stop when you go to the jail. It actually preserves you. And that's why motherfuckers look good when they're older if they did some time. I know that sounds like a cliche, but it's not. I mean, you go in there, it freezes you emotionally. It freezes you physically. I mean, you're in a stale environment. You don't really age a lot. There's no sunlight on you all the time. I mean, you're not weathered. So, I mean. All right. So let me ask you this then. What was your biggest fear then? Like, what was your biggest fear?
Just getting in too much shit, if I can make it out. Because I know me. I know I like to get down and no one's going to talk shit and I'm going to be me and motherfucker no. And you got to maintain a healthy balance in your head of what's too far and what's right enough to be who you want to be in there. You know what I mean? You fuck with the wrong cats sometimes, whether you can whoop their ass or not, which I learned. Some cats can't fight. They can stab and they can hire other cats. And, not everybody who's a tough guy is a tough guy. So, right. It's a whole new shark, waters. It's
all right,
prison, fucking real prison. That's why I don't really know about today's generation and how it goes down today, because these people are locked down so much now. They got them all in cells. and they just treat them like animals, and they keep them in a fucking cell 22 hours a day so they don't have to do any of that shit. Because back then you had to have real COs, real police. There was real riots. Cops got fucked up. Cops got stabbed. I mean, they were in danger a lot. Nowadays, it's fucking keep them behind locked doors, and that's the shit that you sentence a kid to 3, 4, 5 years at 19, and he spends most of it in solitary confinement or with one other person. Dude, he's going to be fucked for life. That's no way, shape, or form or actual punishment that's fitting these crimes. If you rape somebody, you should be castrated or burned in the stake anyway. But if you're going to do it the society way, those are the dudes, murderers, rapists, those are the dudes who should do X amount of years, if not their whole life, all the time. Mm-hmm. And people that do drug offenses, I mean, come on. I mean, you're turning these people into the same people that they are supposed to be punished by, the same scale. They get the same cell, the same punishment, the same everything as someone who murders somebody. Like, I don't see how that's just fair for non-violent offenses, man. If there's no victim, I don't see how there's even a crime anyway. But
so let me ask you this, because there's a lot of randomness that I think
I know
our listener. I apologize. No. That was awesome, and I have to say this, man. Thank you always for being so real. It is, this. 100%. Not everybody is like that.
It's the easiest thing to do. I can tell anybody the best advice I've ever given anybody. It's the easiest thing in the world to be yourself. Do you know how hard it is to cover up who you really are all the time?
Oh, I agree.
It's so easy just to be yourself.
So my question is, this is a pretty vanilla question. The food.
I like vanilla.
Let's talk about the food.
All my babies is vanilla.
What is the food like, or the situation in the cafeteria?
Fuck you. God damn.
What? That's a good.
Now listen. Well, see, I get to brag again because the penitentiary I did most of my time at London. I also went to Lucasville, which that's where the death penalty is at. That's a prison you don't want to go to ever in your fucking life. That's the worst penitentiary in Ohio. But then there was a little loop they called Lancaster. That was okay. But London, the penitentiary I had the most of the time, that's the farm prison. That penitentiary supplies all the other penitentiaries with their food and their steak clothes and shit. So that penitentiary, you eat good. Like, you got 2 packs of cigarettes, you can get a fucking steak in a tinfoil with garlic on that bitch, and you throw that bitch on your hot pipe at night. Throw that bitch on a hot pipe. About midnight, you crack that joker open. While everybody else is eating breaks because they broke, you was eating that motherfucker filet mignon.
All right, so we do have a question from YouTube, and you have a lot of tattoos.
2.
So what do some of these tattoos mean? The question from Crystal says, what do his tattoos mean? What are some of these that stick out for you that are important? I mean, you're riddled with ink.
All my tattoos are very important. Each one means absolutely everything to me because they're very, very specifically something that is to me in my life, right down to the very American traditional dots I have right here because I love American traditional as my back of my sleeve. Everything has a super meaning as tattoos, as they all should. I got some bullshit ones on my legs that I did myself when I first started tattooing because I needed practice skin. And they're pretty fucking crazy, but now they're very significant to me because they were my first. But this is the one I get commented on a lot. A lot of people don't know what this is. And I don't know if I was going to tell them.
Hook it up.
I don't know if I was going to tell anybody, really. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's purple. The color's relevant. That's just my shit. But it looks like an upside down A, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. A lot of people thought it was an anarchist symbol. Well, it is. It's kind of both. We took an atheist and then we took an anarchist symbol and we put it together in a tattoo shop like years and years and years and years and years ago. And then I had kept the drawing of it, and I had got it done. And then after that, man, I swear, like 2 years later, man, I seen those things everywhere. And I had that symbol drawn in my drawer for 10 years almost. Yeah. Nah, maybe not that long, but a long time. And I love that fucking thing. And when I got it right there, it's crazy, man. More people, like, I'll be trucking down the road, and a dude will see it. And then he'll point to me, and then he'll point to a sticker that looks like that, and be like,
"Yeah, it's called.
It's a club. Yeah, it's a tattoo club.
It's
pretty cool. I love that.
I'm trying to remember his name, but it's called the Thinking Atheist. He's the one that his name's slipping me, but He's the one that promoted it, and that's because I have actually a let's see, it's a light bulb with the same thing. I'm probably not going to get the right angle.
Yeah.
But yeah, the
Now they're
thinking.
gonna think we're in the Illuminati together.
Yeah, I feel safer than you do.
Tattoo-minati.
So, okay. So we've talked about the food.
Opinion on everything, though. I believe I was actually a man of faith for a long time, man. Long time. I was part of who I was for a long time. I had faith tattooed across my throat. I was very, very had a lot of faith for a long time. So it wasn't like I was just. I came to that conclusion with no thought at all. Like it took me years of doubting and skepticism to bring myself to a reality situation. Really, like it was vice versa. I was very much.
To be fair, your reality, not necessarily.
Well, yeah, that's what I can speak for, though. We're not talking. Period. I can only speak for my reality. I can never speak on nobody else's life experience whatsoever. So and that's why everybody's life's special, because everybody gets their unique perspective and version of this shit. So it's all good.
What's something about humanity that you learned? Even it doesn't have to be in jail, but what's something about humanity in all races and all ethnicities that you've learned through your life?
All people suck. All people. That's what I've learned.
They don't
all
swallow.
People suck. But look at it. But all people that are great and are really good humans outnumber all the people that suck by a lot. And that's what's cool. That's why you keep going. That's what makes life good and beautiful. And it's still fulfillment, because I truly believe there's way more good people than bad people. It just so happens some of us who are in the economic levels that we all kind of seem to be stuck in, we just know more bad people than good sometimes. So it just seems to skew that, but it's really not. So I think all people are good deep down, man. I really do. I've seen some of the best humans in the world I met in the joint. So that really had nothing to do with it. I know there's some of the best people in the world I met from the absolute homeless shelters, type shit.
And they don't make press. They don't make press.
No.
Nobody wants to hear those stories.
No.
You know, they're kind of boring, you know? It doesn't sell.
That's right. That's right. 100%, man. 100%.
So really quickly, every time that you've came on this podcast, you've also came on with some kind of story time story. You know, we've had the Cedar Point thing with the guy and a few others, and we have a little segment.
Let me take my teeth out, guy.
You know what's hilarious? Is the fucking picture you have of this. I have no idea what fucking I'm looking at, what picture that could be from, but it's hilarious. It's hilarious. It makes me fucking laugh.
It'll be
I want that fucking t-shirt, man.
Kane, do you have we only have like 7 minutes left, and you know do you have a news story that you'd like to talk about? It doesn't have to be from jail. It can be if you want to, but
you know, over the last couple months, I do got some stories.
Life lessons.
I got some fucking life lessons. Yes.
Let's do this. Let's educate. Can you educate, please?
Oh, I will drop a knowledge nugget on your ass.
Like a prom date?
God damn it. That's what we need.
This goes out to all dudes and chicks. This isn't just like a dude comment. This goes to both sides equally. If you're thinking about taking the next step with that person, don't. Why? Hear me out. If you're thinking about taking the step with that person to the next level,
what do you mean by that?
You're thinking about it because it's good right now. Leave it right there. Because when you move them in and they turn out to be a fucking certifiable psychopath, and you thought at first, oh, that's cute, she's crazy, and then you're like, she's crazy. And she's really crazy, and then like hey, I'm worried for her fucking mental well-being, and then hey, this bitch is so crazy, I'm worried about my health. That's what happens. And it's happened too many times for it to be a fucking little fluke. That's what they'd want you to think, honey. That was a fluke. You could have even told this next person about the last person, and they're telling you right now, man, that's crazy. Just don't do it, because then you got to actually evict them. You got to bring in the law. You got to call people. You would rather walk over a fucking Indian burial ground than talk to the police. And I mean, you got to involve them. They got to get them out of here. It's just, oh my God, It was a nightmare. It was the worst time of my life as an adult for a while.
All
Like, I
right.
had never had to go through something like that. Is how awful that was, and how awful it continues to be because they're still crazy as fuck.
All right. Zach
On the
Green.
windows, calling your phone, 200 emails in a 3-hour span.
Jesus.
Listen, what's great is though they range from "you changed my life, you were the greatest thing ever" to "you piece of shit, I'm gonna kill you one day." Like,
I'm gonna change your
all in the
life.
span of those
You're
are my
handsome
favorites.
to you're ugly.
So if you're
Well,
thinking
those
about
are my
taking it to
favorites.
the next level, leave it there.
Those are my
All right,
favorite. You were
so-
the best I ever had, and then you're an old piece of shit. That's why I'm gonna fuck your butt.
So Zach Green is one of your biggest fans. Zach, do you have any questions or any comments or whatever to? Because I feel like I've talked too much.
No, I don't, man. He's covered everything. Literally, he has.
Yeah, I
get the rambler, bro.
And if I happen to do think of something, he's going to be on again. So I'll ask him then.
All right,
All
fair
day,
enough.
all day, guys, all day. This
We
was
got
great.
Lo-
I fucking had a great time. You know I love you guys. We'll just part 3 this shit because you know what we need to do? We need to talk about getting out of jail though and changing your
That's
fucking
next.
life
That's
and how
next.
you can do that. How you can do that. And I came here, I knew one fucking person in this city 24 years ago.
All right, if you don't mind, let's do that next time. And
Let's do that.
we will schedule it. So Lopez Lou says, "What up, Kane from Florida?" So I don't.
What up? What the business is?
It is. Andy, do you have any?
No, man. I
Comments?
was very fulfilled just listening.
Oh, I love to fulfill guys.
Yeah.
That's my dream.
Well, we talked about that earlier, didn't we?
I love you guys.
We love you too.
That was a
All right,
20.
man, I'm gonna get out of here, man.
Hey, man,
I'm
thanks
old.
for being on again. Thanks. It's awesome. I really appreciate it.
I love you guys, man.
All right. We will
Peace,
get you
you
back
sons of
on
bitches.
and we'll finish this out. Folks, please tune in next week and we will see you very soon. Take care.